All right. Well, hello and welcome to your local chapters training for 2026. And I am Sheila O'Brien, your Montana State Chapter Treasurer. And with me is Montana State Board Member Kristen Hope. She is our Vice President this year, and I'm happy to have her here. She's going to help me with any questions that I can't answer. And as a state board, we take care of each other in learning. We learn from different areas. If I don't know something, I reach out to another person, whether it be state board, international, any other informational resource. And so that is the beauty of PEO, and I'm excited to share what I have learned. At this time, I have asked you to mute yourself, place yourself on mute so we can prevent any noisy feedback during the presentation. The session is going to be recorded for those that are not able to attend. And I truly understand how busy we all are. We have lots of different commitments and we all just can't be at the same place at the same time. So technology has allowed for us to be able to record these sessions or any type of thing that we are doing and allow you to take time to learn in a different time setting, basically. So I will also be emailing out all of the follow-up notes. I like to highlight in my sessions or my training sessions, I like to highlight the information by giving you an email eventually the next day or so after it has been posted so that you don't have to take notes so rapidly during the time frame that I am talking. I like you to be able to absorb the information. It's an easy way to listen. It's how I learn. Not everybody does it that way, but I find that it's an easy way to listen to the presentation and absorb the information and then look back at different times to be able to reference the notes. So the very first thing I want to say is a very sincere thank you for your willingness to say yes to this position and serving in your chapter role this way. The PEO fiscal year begins every April 1st and runs until March 31st. So by now, you will be newly installed in your positions and ready to learn about the duties that have been assigned to you. And that is where I come in with some of the training information that I have is I'm ready to help you learn your assigned duties as well and be your cheerleader through the whole entire time. For some of you, this is new, and for some of you, this is old hat. And so I thank you for continuing to be treasurer if you were already treasurer in the past, whether it be last year or previous years before that. And for the new people, like I said, more than once, and I'm going to repeat it, it is a lot of information. Please don't be overwhelmed. We're here to help you. So your Montana State chapters, like I said, are here to help you too, and it's our pleasure to do so. So please remember that information may change from year to year. So my goal is to guide you through the most current resources that have been set up by the International PEO Sisterhood. In this ever-changing world of technology and PEO updates, I'm learning alongside of you. So if I don't know the answer, I actually go and find the answer so that we can both learn at the same time. I take my role very seriously, and I have enjoyed this last year as treasurer. And I do my very best to keep you up to date with information and find the answers to the questions and help in any way that I can. So let me give you a quick rundown of our plans with our time together here. This is also a time that I'd like to let you know that if you were to gather a spring marguerite daisy for each time that I say the word information in this presentation, you are going to have a very large and very pretty bouquet of flowers when we are finished. Information is a good thing. And I just picked the first daisy, information. With this Zoom invite, I've attached attachments as well with more information. I will go over these items today in a little more further detail. I will explain how to find the information on the Hub website, as well as the Montana State Chapter website. And I'll talk to you about the important dates and responsibilities of the chapter treasurer. There will be a question and answer time at the end for me to address questions, and you're welcome to use the chat box during this time as well. And Kristen is going to monitor the chat box and we will address questions at the very end. So here we go. So your chapter corresponding secretary had the duty of updating your contact information personally for you as treasurer on the international website. Now, the international website is also called the Hub. They are the same thing. After the election and installation of your new officers in March, she would have reported that your contact information be listed on the Hub. Now, we use this information to gather uh, the emails to send out more information to you. So you'll be receiving emails from the International about your new resources that are available to you. If they have any training that's coming up, you would receive an email from them. You would also, with your contact information, our state board uses it to contact you with correspondence from our state members. We have a Montana Marguerite that is a newsletter that has lots of tidbits and lots of good information that comes out. It's emailed out seasonally with like I said, just good information. So the P.E.O record is mailed. It's a mailed magazine that is also available online through the Hub, but it comes from our international chapter, which is in Des Moines, Iowa. It serves all the sisters across US as well as internationally. So if your email information or your address information or your name or anything is incorrect, I will show you how to fix it and check on it first and then fix it in the Hub because we want to be able to contact you and give you the updates. This information is not sold to anybody. It is not given out to people from all over the state. This is your personal information, and we have made international and states has requirements as to what we use these emails for. Yeah, or addresses, emails, information, sorry. So together we're going to take a look at the Hub, and I want to show you how to find this important information so that you can become familiar with it. You will be using the Hub as the treasurer, and that is new in the last few years. There are lots of details, lots of information, lots of things to gather from the Hub. So I'm going to try to make this the easiest as I can for you. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to guide you through some of the steps that we are going to use for our sleuthing through the Sisterhood's Path of Knowledge. So I'm going to start by taking you to the website. And I'm kind of excited to do this because I've never shared a screen before. I'm new at this and it's going to happen. I've practiced, so I know it can happen. So let me go ahead and find my share screen. Here we go. Okay. And that is what I had on there before. I'm going to go down here. I talk to myself all the time and tell myself how well I am doing. So I think I'm doing really well. I found the screen. So this is peointernational.org. And again, this will be in your follow-up notes as to where I find this information and how you're going to be able to utilize it. You don't have a test on this, don't worry. It's just one of those things that we are going to help you with. So when you first get to this website, you're going to find that you need to log in. So I'm going to go to member login. Now my information is already placed in there because I use this a lot. And so I just have it set that it says remember me. And so it remembers me and it brings me up. So when you start logging in, you're just going to follow up by saying remember me or just save my password, and you can go in just as easily as I can if you choose to. So all right, this is what you're going to see when you log into the Hub. So as your tour guide today, I'd like to point out a few things and explain a few areas. So can you all see my cursor? Nod if you can see my cursor. Okay, so over on the left-hand side, you will find all of the little resources that start out the Hub. So it tells you it's the Hub. You can search a library, but what you really want to do is you want to go down to the chapters and the annual reports, the resources, the shops and donations, the projects and foundations, messages, my profile, and don't log out. We don't want you to log out right now because you need to be seeing what's going on. So on here, each one of these is a drop down and it brings up more information. So what we want to start with is I'm going to close out this and this. And I want to just focus on the resources. This is where you as a treasurer are going to be able to locate your best items. So moving over to here, I want to show you this next, my to-do items and notices. Now, this is set up for me. So I know that I don't have anything to do. I don't have a notice. International is not trying to tell me that there's a training going on. There isn't anything that I need to catch up on because I've already done that. Now, as a chapter treasurer, the only time that you probably will see something on here is during annual reporting time. And we will talk about that in a little bit, but it will be able to say up here, it'll tell you if you have a report that's ready or if there's something that they want you to do. Now, you will always have training as to what they want you to do available to you. So don't get upset if you get up to here and it says, you need to do this. Don't worry about that. You will already know that that is going to be coming up there for you to do. So going over to this side, my chapter, now I belong to chapter AK in Malta. And so it has my information in there. I'm not going to click on anything right now because when you are recording or you are doing a Zoom, I'm not allowed to give out my personal information to anyone, which is part of the privacy that you have as well. I don't give out your information or anybody in your chapter's information. So that is why I'm not going to click on anything. But let me tell you what would have happened if I would have. So my chapter has a lot of details in it. And what you would be able to see is if you clicked right here on chapter information, it would be whatever your corresponding secretary has listed in there. So for example, it would say when your meeting times are, what your meeting dates are. It would probably give you fun little tidbits if you wanted to say what your favorite fundraiser is. Anything that your chapter or corresponding secretary has placed in there is what it'll say. Then down here next in members, if I were to press on that, and when you get a chance to go in and look at it, it's going to list everybody that it was, that is an active member in your chapter. There are different drop downs that'll tell you who's inactive. There's different little toggle switches basically, but it's the information about your chapter and only your chapter. It does not give you information about anybody else's chapter in the state of Montana. Your officers are going to be listed as well. And this is where you will find if your information has changed. You want to be sure that you update that information. If you've decided to use a new email, this is where you would go in the hub to double click on your officers. You would double click on your name that's listed there and it gives an edit button. And you would just put in your new information. If you've moved down the way, change your address. If you've changed your phone number, this is where you would do that. But this is where state officers and international officers use your contact information. So if this information isn't correct, you're not going to get an email from me saying, hey, we've got a training coming up, or hey, Montana Marguerite is coming out, or anything like that. So that's what we use this information for in the officer section. So the newsfeed section down here, as you can see, this is what International wants me to know. They want me to know that the spring issue of the P.E.O record is available. Now, the P.E.O record is also a mailing magazine that will come to you at your house too, because it got your information from your members list or your officers list. And so it will send out that information too. But if you wanted to, if you were, I don't know, say in a hotel the night before you were going somewhere, and you had to be somewhere, but you went the night before and you're staying in a hotel. If you wanted to look on your iPod or iPad or anything like that, computer, and you decided that, hey, I left my magazine at home and I have some time, you would be able to read it from here. This is another little thing they want to tell us about. They have a travel program. And a Walk Today for Women Tomorrow event kit is here. So if you wanted to learn about any of these three things, you'd click on it. It would take you to the link and you'd be able to read about what's going on. My shortcuts area here is important. I like this area because if I have a question as a state officer, or if I was just a member, you could contact us. If you are looking for something that you can't find, you double click that and it sends you an email, or it gives you a box that you can ask a question to somebody at International, and it'll send your question to somebody else who will answer you in an email and tell you where to find your information. Visit the International website is on here. If I were to press this, it's going to take me back to that very front page. Here's your hub training. So anytime that there is going to be something for the treasurer that's going to be announced and you're going to know about, you can easily go to here, double click on that, and it's going to tell you what kind of training is coming up. Here's the other three things and what's new is listed on there as well. So that is where you're going to find the information. Now, the hub tells you this information in a couple of different areas. This is just one of the areas that will take you to some of that information that we're going to be looking for. There are other ways that I'm going to show you next that are specific too. Here, I'm not going to go into detail on these little items on the left here, the record, the bed and breakfast, the transfer list, all of that. That is information that you can look up at your leisure if you choose to. What I am wanting to show you is about the library. So we're going to go to the library. And I'm just double checking my notes to make sure that I know exactly where we're going. And I'm kind of excited about this. I do want to backtrack just one little bit here. I am able to go to my chapter information without, I said that I didn't want to, but I'm going to do it really fast because it's not going to have anybody's names on there. But if I go to that, you know I'm in chapter AK. That is something that I've already told you. So that is not private information. I'm not going to tell you who our active members are or any of that. But what I want you to see is up here at the very top, there are tabs. So when you are looking at your own chapter's information, this is the info, the basic info. And like I was saying, our corresponding secretary, our chapter enjoys meals out, attending community events, and visiting with each other at our business meetings. That is what she is letting you know. And we do. It's all truthful information. So leadership, if I were to go to the leadership tab, it's going to tell you who is in charge of our chapter and the members. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to resources. So when I push resources, this is public information that you will have as well, and it will show you where you can go. It's another tool that will take you to a place. It's one of the paths that will take you to the place. There's other places too that will take you to this information. This I like because it's handy. So quick resource links. Hey, guess what? You're the treasurer. Your monthly report to your chapter can be found here. Click that link. Treasurer's monthly report to your chapter. If you wanted to auto calculate and didn't want to have to do something different, these are your choices. Some of this stuff is information that you will use. Some of it will be information that other chapter officers are going to use. And that is just great. Your local chapter supply form, that's here. There's other different little things that you can find. And I will show you the other way to find that information in more detail. Instructions to local officers, those will be listed right here. Obviously, if you wanted to know what everybody is supposed to do, you would click on the link and read the document about the complete IOLC. Now, IOLC, I've had people ask me what that is, and I giggle because I had to be taught what that was too. It is the instructions to officers of local chapters. That's all it stands for. It's an acronym, IOLC. So what we are going to do is we are going to look at what your treasurer IOLC and what your duties are. But I'm not going to do it from here. I'm going to show you how to get to it a different way. And there's a reason why I'm going to do that. I do want to show you down here first, annual report items. As the treasurer, this is what was done before you started on April 1st. This is last year's report, which was 2025. And the treasurer, if you were the treasurer last year, these are the numbers you put in. If you are new to this, this is what your last treasurer did. And that's the most important part of your documentation of your office. So this would be where you find all of your information. If I were to press on that right now, it would show me what Chapter AK paid in dues, all the members that were part of it, and the IRS LC form that we filled out. Your chapter, because you're an officer, you have rights to be able to see that as well in your own chapters tabs. So I'm going to take you over to the annual or to the resources, and this pops up all the time and I just want to put it away a little bit. Annual resources, and we're going to go and we're going to find the IOLC in a different way. We're going to go to the library. So we're in the resources tab, and now we want to go hunt in the library. So I'm going to double click on the library, and it brings me to document library. Now, this is not horrible once you get going on it, but it is one of those things that you have to practice with because you have to ask it the right questions or set it to the correct filters. Obviously, I was looking earlier and it didn't clear it. What are the projects? What I wanted was a screenshot to be able to show you what all the projects were. And I found it, but it didn't clear. So I like to change this to different items per page. I want 100 items. I don't want to only sort through 20. I want to be able to keep going if I'm looking for something. Now, I want you to be able to learn how to filter it because you could spend days. As you can see, there's 931 documents that are listed on here. You don't want to see that many. You want to know just what's for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to do some filter choices here. And this is basically the meat and potatoes, so to speak, for your treasurer's resources. You're going to go to filter. And let's see, I want to, oh, sorry, I had already pushed filter. So filter is already there. You're going to look at your categories and you're going to choose your drop downs. These are all the categories you can choose from. If I chose all categories, there's 931 documents. But if you want to know only something that is listed here, you're going to put that information, double click on that information and make it into your filter. So I only want to know about the local chapter officers. So I'm going to double click that and it's going to bring up all the information that can be for your local chapter offices. So what I want to do is I want to see this. However, I've decided right this minute that I don't want to see all of it incomplete. I only want to know what the treasurer is supposed to do. Well, look, here's what the treasurer is supposed to do. So recording secretary, treasurer, any of these other ones down here, they're included up here too. But let's just focus on what the treasurer does. So I'm going to double click on that. And I'm going to be able to see on the next page here the document information. So what you're going to want to do is you want to view it and check and see if that's what you really want. And then you would download it. So I'm going to view it and show you what that looks like. It pops up. It'll tell you all of the things that you need to know about your office. Like I said, the meat and potatoes. And it's the very first thing that you're going to want. It's a good reference of what you're doing and explaining. An explanation of how you're going to do that. So I'm not going to read this to you because I know that you're going to look at this and you're going to see. But for example, treasurer's duties, you're going to receive and disperse funds of the chapter. You're going to do all these little things. Now, remember, deadlines are really, really important. They are there for a reason, and they are set out by international for every state, for every chapter, for every province, and every district. It is not just particular states. So all of this information, there were 7 pages of it, is something that I will make sure that you have the link to or the actual attachment for. I did send it out earlier, but I will make sure in my follow-up that that is there because that'll explain all the different duties that you have as treasurer in your term this year. So this is a mandatory guide. The IOLC is a mandatory guide that has been constructed by the PEO International to help the local officers with their duties, and it's in accordance with the Sisterhood's constitution, bylaws, and standing rules. So every other year, the Sisterhood holds a convention of international chapter, and they use the term CIC. So that's what it stands for, is Convention of International Chapter. It's during this time that the new information is decided upon, voted on, it's updated, and it's available to local chapters after the Convention of International Chapter has convened. And so if you have been in PEO for several years, you're going to notice that a new constitution book, usually with a different bright color on the front, comes out to your local presidents and is available in the online office supplies as well as in the new member kits. The reason for this every 2 years is because information changes every 2 years at International Convention of International Chapter. So let me go back to, I showed you what the IOLC looks like in real time, but I also wanted to explain to you what is going to be on your list for officer supplies. So I'm going to go back over to the hub here where you're going to want to order any chapter supplies. So these supplies that are listed for your office will also be on another attachment that will show you in the IOLC what your officer duties are and how these items fit into that. So I'm going to go over back to the hub here on the left-hand side, and we're going to put away the resources because we know what we're looking for now. We're going to go to the shops. So a lot of the information that you are going to be looking for as treasurer is free to you on the hub. It is by using those resources that you will find these information things. So documents, online documents, supplies such as your membership cards, your notice of dues, your order emblem form, and your treasurer's monthly report to your chapter, your instructions to the audit committee, and all of those types of things. They will be available to you on the hub or in the resources, or you can come to here to chapter supplies and you can order them. Now, ordering, obviously, I am not going to go in here with my username and password because you will have to set this up yourself. It tells you down here how you're going to do that. Your 7-digit PEO member is your ID. All right, so for those of you that don't know what your 7-digit ID is, it is actually the number that is on the very back of your PEO record. When you get into the hub and you're looking up your contact information, it's also there. Your ID is going to be there. It's only you. You are the only one with that ID, and that is why you are able to log in using that. So you will set up your information here and log in. You'll create a password. You'll do exactly what these instructions say in order to get into the online ordering. Now, for my chapter in Chapter AK, when I was treasurer, the only online ordering that I really did need to do was to order the official emblems after you've initiated member. You need to order your pins from there. And we had membership cards as well that we ordered, but they are also now available to be able to print out online if you choose to do that. Technology has changed and lots of different things have changed for PEO, and so they're trying to make this be able to use that stuff online like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the accounting program that most chapters use. And so I'm going to take you out of here and I'm going to just put a better little screen up. Okay, this is the other website that you're going to use, but I'm going to explain to you a little bit. First of all, before we go to that, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the accounting program that the treasurers will be using. So, most chapters use an Excel program that is offered by PEO International. It is okay to use a ledger book as well, but technology and life has changed that International has this Excel program that they actually are in charge of. So if you have any questions about this program, either how to download it as a new user or receive help on the questions, if you have any using the program, you are going to contact International directly. So the email address for this will be listed in my follow-up notes, and it is actually LP Accounting at PEODSM.org. So I will make sure that that information gets to you in case you have any questions. The Montana State Board and does not have anything to do with this accounting program. We're not able to answer questions, and we can't see into your accounting as well. So that is why you are going to follow up with PEO International on that. We just don't have access to that. It's operated by the PEO International in Des Moines, Iowa. So, all right. So what we're going to do is go to a couple of other things here. I want to show you what an LC13 form is. The LC13 form is a form that you're going to fill out when your chapter has donations that they would like to send to projects or to support any funds that are located at the foundation. Because this form is specific to Montana, it can be found on the Montana chapter website. It's not going to be on the hub because it's only Montana's foundation projects. Each state has their own things that they're looking at. So while I'm sharing the screen, I'm going to take you to that site on the Montana website here. You're going to, if you were not logged in and you were just looking at this as not a PEO member, this is the information that the public would see. And it is good information. It is updated every year after convention. And it's kind of a fun thing to be able to send potential candidates to come and look at this information. Potential candidates meaning anyone who wants to apply scholarships, learn the history of PEO, talk to, a member, that type of thing. This is where you would find information. Cotty College, there's a contact us form, and we have members from the state board that take a look at this and get back to you if you have other information. But we're going to log in. Okay, so yep, that's me. I know that's me, and it's something I've already logged in, so I've been welcomed. And I am going to try to get in here. Not really sure why it's not letting me.
Sheila, you have to click the log out.
Oh, and start over because that was,
Yep.
yeah, I put it up there in a while ago. You're right. So it has to refresh. This is where I'm going to click remember me because I want it to remember me and be able to log in at the same time. Thank you, Kristen. I didn't panic yet, but I kind of had a thought. So, okay, so here's our resources. And what you're going to look at is proceedings and forms. So this is very important because the proceedings and forms is where you're going to find out more information about the Montana chapter. So we're going to go to proceedings and forms. So while I'm sharing your screen and I'm talking about this, I want you to know, again, LC means local chapter. That's all it stands for. And people ask, what is an LC 13? It is the local chapter page number 13 in the proceedings from the Montana State Chapter Convention. So state convention is held usually in June every summer. And this proceedings and forms page, this is the reports that are documenting all the hard work and great accomplishments for Montana's support of the PEO sisterhood for the previous fiscal year. It is a requirement during the fall organizer visits by either the Montana State chapter organizer or her proxy who comes to visit your chapters to be able to refer to this printed information. So you will be asked, do you know what this is? Do you know how to find it? A lot of chapters do print it, so they have it in front of them. It does change every single year. So we do ask that you know how this information works. So this is exciting information. It impacts the lives in the best ways, and it brings the P.E.O. philanthropic organization to a tangible realm. That was exciting to write that sentence. It just gave me chills because this is fun. This is fun. You get to look at the reports. Yep, looks a little bit overwhelming. These are reports from different parts of there, but this is what you're looking for. You're looking for the local chapter LC13. And again, that will be sent to you. It's only found on here if you were looking for it. I'll make sure that there is a link for it. So I'm going to double click on it. And this is what it's going to look like. I can't fit all of it on my screen, but I can fit most of it on my screen here. The local chapter gift report is only going to me at this point because I am the state treasurer. Now in June, we're going to have a new state treasurer because the secretary, who is Montana State Secretary, will move up to this position. This is a year position, and that is why the LC13 contact information changes every single year. Your president, your chapter will be informed that's what the new information is, and this is where you're going to send this information is to me. Here I am at the top. There's my contact information. This would be for chapter donations, and this would be when I will give you a timeline of when the deadlines are for this, but you would fill out this type of information, and notice here at the bottom that let me see where it's at. Okay, the total, the chapter check. So it has to come from your chapter. It cannot be a personal check. It has to be a chapter check that is made out to the Montana State PEO, Montana State Chapter PEO. That is where, and you're going to send it to the treasurer. So you can send as many LC13s and gift donation checks all year round. However many you choose to, that is great and they're welcome. However, I will talk to you about the deadline for the special recognitions and the deadline for the end of year chapter donations that will be reported at convention. So, all right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. And I am going to talk about the deadlines. So let me see how I can do this. Got out all of there. I'm going to go back in here. I need to stop sharing the screen. I'm going to pop up here pretty quick. Ah, okay. I was looking into my camera. Sorry. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the project donations, and then we will have our question and answer. I see that we are just about up for our hour, so I think I'm doing pretty good here. So I will also send you this attachment that has all of this information on there so that you can refer to it. January 31st is the project donation deadline. These deadlines are firm. They are not to be messed with by anybody on the state level because they have been set by international. So it's a firm deadline that your project donations with the LC13 form must already be in the hands of the state treasurer. Chapters donating $500 or more, as stated on the LC13, to any one project will qualify for special recognition if this deadline is met. The special recognition will be for your chapter. It will also be published throughout the P.E.O. Sisterhood newsletters, information, possibly at Convention of International. They did a great big huge billboard when I got to go see the last one, and it was neat to see different chapters all amongst the whole entire United States, provinces, districts that have, and internationally, that have contributed to this. So at this time, only the IPS project, which is the International Peace Scholarship, requires a special form called a Partner in Peace form, and that must be completed online. In years past, it was able to be completed by paper. It is no longer that way. Technology has changed, things have changed, and it's done online. So if you were to be giving $500 or more in one lump sum, it can't be in installments, it's all in one lump sum. These recognition names will be listed on the LC-13. It will be logged in on the state treasurer's behalf to international, and you would receive recognition for that. Um, a helpful tip is to start discussing donations in November or December to make sure that there is time for your chapter to vote on these project contributions. You would need to mail the check before January 15th to ensure that it arrives on time. And again, this check and this form has to be in the hands of the Montana State Treasurer by January 31st, as that is the internationally constructed deadline, as well as your deadline. It's her deadline and it's your deadline. So February 28th, members' dues deadline. This is a firm deadline for collecting dues for all members of the chapters who wish to remain active. A helpful tip to start collecting dues would be in December or January. You're responsible for sending out the dues notice form. An example can be found on the hub. When the dues are paid, you are responsible for giving active members a membership card, and that you can fill out with the up-to-date information. You can order them if you want a fancy yellow card that's printed professionally, or you can use the template that is found on the hub. The reason that you do this is chapter delegates and members attending convention, their state convention or international conventions, must have a current membership card to be admitted into the convention. They actually have to show that in order to be admitted. February 28th, last date of the current fiscal year's donations. So, like I said, your year runs from March 1st. A PEO year runs from March 1st to February 28th. So if you did not send a gift donation in January, it must be in the hands of the Montana State Treasurer on this date to be included in the current gift list that is reported at the Montana State Convention. Now, the reports of these are also going to be found at the convention in your Montana State proceedings and forms list. That whole big long list that had all the different reports, that is where that information is found. So if your gift donation arrives after this date, it will be accepted, of course, and we are thankful for that. It will be recorded for the next year's donations. So February 28th is the last day of your ledger in your accounting. And so your dues check, when you write that, you will write your last check for the year on February 28th. It will be dated February 28th. And you're going to end your current ledger or your Excel spreadsheet and begin a new one for March 1st. And again, you'll run from March 1st to February 28th. So March 1st through 10th is the online annual reporting process. This is a firm deadline and a critical window of time for submitting your annual reports for your local chapter. You're responsible for providing accurate numbers in this report. So be sure to watch for announcements about the annual report process. Training videos are offered by International. Attend these training sessions that are offered by International. There will also be an additional training session that's hosted by your state treasurer. This next year, it will be the secretary that is moving up into this position. And so you will be not seeing me on that video because I did last year's, but you will be informed. Don't worry, you will be informed. These dates will be planned in advance and listed on the Montana Marguerite newsletter, as well as the Zoom invite that will arrive in your email. So, and they usually take place in January or February. So you will have plenty of time to do some research, to know what you're going to write for your annual reports. You're going to be able to have time to gather your numbers. and get everything in order. So if you are not going to be available during this time, that is very unfortunate because you are responsible for these numbers and it's difficult to have somebody step into your place. However, if you are not going to be available during this time, you must assign a proxy to complete the report on your behalf. It's not something that you can come back on March 11th and say, "Oh, I wasn't here this other 10 days. I'm going to do it now." That window is closed. International closes that window and it just goes away. So you must have that done. So you must have a chapter proxy. Now, if you because you are listed, remember you are listed as the chapter treasurer. So in order to have a proxy, you have to have your corresponding secretary update the report assignment with the proxy's name. So there is a whole process that you will need to reach out for if you are not available. So a tidbit from this treasurer: please plan your vacations at a different time other than March 1st through 10th. That's just the easiest thing to do. But a helpful tip is to make sure that you're prepared for this before March 1st. And if you need any help, it doesn't rush you for time to get the help that you need, either from your auditing committee or people that are working with you within your chapter or from a state officer. So it gives you time to put this paperwork together. And if there's any issues and the report is rejected due to some of this inaccurate information, you need the time to be able to correct it before the 10th of March. But technically, your chapter president has to receive this report once you're done with it. And so you need to be gracious and give your chapter president time to review it and accept the work that you have provided as well. So be kind to one another and work together to create a smooth annual reporting process completion. And so you'll learn more about this in a few more months. So the state treasurer is the next in line to complete all of Montana chapter's annual dues reports and IRS LC reports that have been submitted during this time frame, this March 1st through 10th window. So she reviews and confirms the information, corrects any discrepancies, and submits the final review to the next reviewer, which is actually the state president, the Montana state president. So you can see why these numbers need to be accurate and why it takes time to do all these things, because people need time to do their work. So International takes over from there and completes the work with the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. So your chapter will receive a release letter when all these steps are through after International has done their work and accomplished everything that they need to do. So release letters for this year have not been sent out. And so I don't have an estimate of time when that's going to happen, but they will be sent out and you will be receiving them at some point in the near future. So, wow. That is a lot of information. And now you know why I like to upload this recording in case you want to see it again. And I also like to email the following notes so that you can see everything that we've talked about. So we're going to move on to the question and answer part. Does anybody have any questions? You have to unmute yourself and then you can ask a question and I will try to give you an answer right away. Kristen, was there anything in the chat?
No, there isn't.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I just looked at my I looked at my clock here and that took a long time and I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate everything. So thank you for your time today and please feel free to reach out to me if you need any further information or help with anything. Me or any of the board members. I will also send that information to you as well. So, information. Look at that. It seems like I've collected many, 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 many Marguerite daisies by counting the times that I use the word information. And now I have a bright little daisy bouquet to brighten my desk this week. So I hope that you learned a lot and I wish you the best in your new position.